In the name of Allah, hello students, welcome to our class today. I hope you are doing great as usual. As I said to you students yesterday, today we will start our lesson from binary logic operations. As we said students yesterday, processors use binary numbers for addressing arithmetic and to make comparisons such as equal to, less than, greater than, not equal to, not less than, or not greater than. Beyond addressing and arithmetic, a processor performs logical and data shift operations using tree functions and an exclusive OR. These three binary functions are a part of Boolean algebra, which is used to test two values to produce a third. Okay, students, let's go ahead and let's have a discuss about the AND operations. What's the meaning of this, students? Do you know this? If you have any idea, please share it with me in the group or in the comments. The AND Boolean algebra operations has a very simple set of rules. Only two truth equal true, and false always makes a false. When this operation is used, which is called ANDing, two-bit values are combined to produce a result. For example, if the two-bit values are both first, the result is 1. The value 1 represents true. Applying the two roles to first make a 1. The logic also, students, we can say that the value 1 represent true. Applying the two roles to ones make a 1. And the logic is this, and that must be true. Trust me on this. However, if one of the bits contain 0 false, then 1 true and 1 false would result in a false. This is the basic logic used in the electronic logic circuits. The next one, students, is OR operations. The OR Boolean algebra operations have only one rule. If either of two values is 1 true, then the result is a 1. The logic there is this or that can be true. The next one is, students, is I think exclusive OR operations. Students, an exclusive OR, sometimes called XOR operation, requires one and only one of the two-bit operands to be true, exclusive of the other bits value. So in an XOR logical operations, if one and only one bit is true, then the pair result in a true if both or neither of the bit is true. The result is false. Exclusive OR operations are used to produce the complement of a number. Okay, students, let's go ahead. Okay, students, here is hexadecimal number system. However, students, we have discussed about the number system in the computer fundamental book in the first semester, but in here I want to recall the hexadecimal number system because it will be important and useful for you. As you know, students, another number system you should be aware of is the hexadecimal number system. Hexadecimal means 6 and 10, or a base 16 number system. Since after reading the preceding section on binary numbers, you are now a number system expert. Hexadecimal should be a piece of a cake for you, and it will be very easy for you because you know now the binary, and binary is harder than hexadecimal. When you know the binary number system, the hexadecimal knowing will be very simple and easy to you. Why hexadecimal, students? It's a good question and great question. Many of the addresses and configuration values you work with on the PC are expressed and hexadecimal numbers because very large numbers can be expressed in fewer characters. Hex, as its friend called it, it uses a combination of 16 values. The decimal number 0 through 9 for the first 10 values, and the text letter through F to represent the decimal values of 11 to 15. As you are seeing, students, in the table, here is the hexadecimal values, and here is the decimal values. Decimal values, as we said, students, in the first semester in the computer fundamental book. Decimal value, students, we are using a number in the days in the daily world starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and also it call it based on 10. And the hexadecimal values start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and after 9 start from A to 5. Students, the value of 0 and the hexadecimal is 0, and 1 is 1, 2 is 2, 3 is 3, 4 is 4, 5 is 5, and 6 is 6, 7 is 7, 8 is 8, and 9 is 10. But students, and 10 value in hexadecimal number or hexadecimal number system is A, and the 11 hexadecimal and 11 value in the hexadecimal number is B, and the 12 in the 12 value in the hexadecimal is equal to D, and the 14 value in the hexadecimal is E, and the 15 value in the hexadecimal is F. But students, please don't be worried about hexadecimal. Hexadecimal is very easy to know. If you pay attention to that completely, it will be very easy and very simple to you. Hexadecimal numbers can represent a much larger number in the same number of digits as a decimal number, but where a decimal number is stored in binary in 8, 16, 32, or 64 bits. Each hexadecimal digit uses 4 bits. The 4 bits have the binary values ranged from 20 in the rightmost position and 23 in the leftmost position. When all 4 bits have a 1, the total decimal value is 15, or the equivalent of the hexadecimal F. This 4-bit cluster is called an enable, that we had to discuss about enable in the above page. I think we had to discuss about that yesterday, and it can express the hexadecimal numerals from 0 to F. Students, the hexadecimal numbers or values start from 0 to F. 0 to 9 is the number, and A to F is the letters. Hexadecimal helps to solve the problem of how to store numbers like 11 or 15 as a single character, which ultimately saved characters when working with large numbers. You really don't need to master hexadecimal to the point that you can readily convert it back and front to decimal. Students, but you should have some idea of what a hexadecimal number represents in the terms of the decimal values. Students, the hexadecimal number is just a number system like decimal or like our daily numbers, and just it used for storing data because we will have a large amount of data and amount of numbers, and the hexadecimal is able to store that shortly. Students, let's go ahead. Okay, here is semiconductors. What do you think, students? What's semiconductor? Have you heard the name of semiconductor yet now? Students, please don't say that you are not an electrician. You are not an electrician, but you are an engineer. But engineers, computer engineer, must know everything about computer. But computer engineer must know the material of the computer, which material used in the computer. That's conductor, semiconductor, or resistance. Students, that these materials knowing is important to you because you will be a hard engineer of computer, or you'll be a computer hard engineer in the future. These materials knowing is important to you. As you know, students, the micro processor is constructed of a layer upon layer of electronic circuits that are literally carved out of silicons. Silicon is a very common found element in the world. In fact, after oxygen, there is more silicons available than any other elements, and you can find it easily on the beach in rocks and sand. However, the silicon used for manufacturing integrated circuits is found in the white quartz. Silicon is the primary building material used in manufacturing the electronic integrated circuits or chips that are used to construct the process and ultimately the computer. It's used in electronic circuits because it's an excellent semiconductors. A semiconductor is a material that is neither a conductor nor an insulator, but can be chemical altered to be either no one. You may have noticed that many of the places where high tech manufacturing companies are located have take one nicknames like Silicon Valley, and the manufacturers of processor use from semiconductors for making processor, and also semiconductor used for in the other components of the computer. Okay, students, let's go ahead. Okay, students, conductors and insulators. What do you think, students, about that? Have you seen, students, these materials in anywhere right now? Of course, yes. You have seen the spoon in your home, in the restaurant, and others. Also, you have seen the coppers or seams in anywhere. But students, as you're seeing, this section shows the conductors, and this section shows the insulators. Insulators, students, like plastics, like oil, like rubber, and like glasses, and the conductors like wires, like aluminum, like the coppers and the wires and others. And these materials allow the electronic moving on them, and these materials don't allow the electrons on them. But if we giant rubber between two seams, the electron will not be able to move on the rubber. As you know, students, a material that is conductor allows electrical current to pass through it. Without getting too technical, materials like copper, aluminum, or gold are good conductors of electricity because they have free electrons through which the current can pass. On the other hand, material that does not allow an electrical current to pass through its collet and insulator. Overall, we can say, students, that insulators don't allow the electrons to pass on it, and the conductors allows electrons allow on it. Insulators like rubber, wood, or glasses do not have many free electrons through which the current can pass. Those materials that, depending on their chemical makeup, will or will not allow electricity to pass are called the semiconductors. That we had discussed about the semiconductors in the above page. Those materials that, depending on their chemical makeup, will or will not allow electricity to pass are called the semiconductor. Students, that semiconductors used in the computer components like processor and other components. And sometimes the semiconductors allow electrons to pass, and sometimes the semiconductors don't allow the electrons to pass. But it has the characteristic conductors and insulators, and discuss that call it semiconductors, which means they can be treated chemically to be either a conductor or an insulator. Silicon is a semiconductor, however, when it's combined phosphorus, it pick up some extra electrons and become a conductor. When it is combined with boron, which lacks electrons, it become an insulator. By mixing silicon with phosphorus or boron, it can be either a conductor or an insulator, which makes silicon the perfect materials for transistors and other electronics components. Students, the conductors are used in our daily work, like our wiring home, and also we can use from wire for different in the different things, students, like car and like motorcycle and others. The main job of conductor is carry electronics and carry the electricity on itself. But students, the main job of insulators is don't allow to electrons to pass. And discuss, students, some electricians, when they work with wires with electrons and with electricity, they use from rubber handkerchief or glove. Students, the electrician use gloves for protect their hands and protect their body. Students, let's go ahead. Okay, students, it was our lesson today. Please pay attention to your homework. The first question of your homework is, what's the difference between binary numbers and hexadecimal number? That we had to discuss about the binary number and the hexadecimal number. And the above page, overall, students, we can say that the binary number is based on 2, and they just has two values, the 0 and 1. And the hexadecimal number is a system number that based on letters and numbers, and their number start from 0 to 9, and their letter start from A to F, and every letter has a special value in the decimal number. Okay, students, let's go ahead. The next question of your homework is, what's conduct? That we had discussed about semiconductors, conductors, and insulators. Please, students, search. Please answer this question. What's conductor? It has a short. It has a short answer, students. The last question of your homework is research about semiconductor materials of computer. This question students need research. Please research if you know yourself. Please answer this question, and also if you don't know, please research in the internet and share with me in the group or in the comments. Okay, students, tomorrow we will have a discuss about the how an IC is made. It was our lesson today, students. Thanks for your watching. Have a good time. Good luck.